thing of beauty is joy forever. A beautiful poem written by John Keats, talking about the love of a mortal human being, a shepherd, Endymion, and the moon goddess Cynthia, also known as Selena, are the two names of the goddess Artemis. Alright, the poem was written by John Keats. The name of the poem was Endymion, the Poetic Romance. It was a long poem which consists of 4 books or 4 volumes. And the thing that is taken from for CBSE class 12 is the beginning of the poem, a small excerpt from it. A thing of beauty. Endymion was a shepherd who lived at the Olympian Mount Olympus in Greece. He was a shepherd and he's supposed to have gone to the mountain countryside of Mount Olympus, and his sheep were grazing and he was sleeping. So moon goddess Cynthia happened to come over the sky, and her eyes befell on this Endymion who was sleeping, and he was supposed to be very handsome, and she could not take her eyes off him. So the mythology has got slight variations. Alright, some claims that Endymion was a shepherd, some say he was a king, he was a hunter, and there are a few other versions claim he was a son of Zeus himself. Anyway, John Keats took it as he was a shepherd and he was sleeping, and Cynthia, the moon goddess, she could not take her eyes off her. So what she did, she stopped on her way, changed into the form of a beautiful girl. She came down and sat there beside him, watching him sleeping. And Endymion might have understood the presence of somebody else beside, because slowly he was about to wake up. When he opened his eyes, looked everywhere, and he caught just a glance of somebody escaping. He could see the face of a beautiful girl, and he did not know it was a goddess actually. So while he was waking up, he found that somebody is just escaping or fleeing. And this poem is about his search for that girl who escaped. Without knowing whether she was a goddess or anyone, he started looking for her. So he started going into different parts. He's searching through the forest, lakes. He goes to the underworld to see. So in search of his lost love. So it is said that later Endymion unites with Cynthia, and she was so enamored by the beauty of Endymion, and the first vision she had, how handsome he looked while he was asleep. So she asked the help of the king of gods, Zeus, to turn Endymion eternally young and he will remain young, and he will not die. He is given immortality also. And one thing what she wanted was that he would sleep forever, to see, so that she can sit beside him and he will sleep continuously, because she could not take her eyes off when Endymion was sleeping. Sound bizarre. There are other versions. It was Zeus who punished Endymion to eternal sleep. Because of some other thing, I think he tried to fall in love with the wife of Zeus, Hera, goddess Hera. There are other versions, another jealous god who was jealous of Endymion made him to put to sleep. Anyway, whatever the reason, Endymion slept always with his eyes open and slept continuously, an eternal sleep, and he would remain young forever. There are the stories and poems telling how actually Cynthia and Endymion had 50 children. Again sounds bizarre, but that's what the story says. Anyway, in this poem, Endymion's first beginning part, a thing of beauty, is joy forever. As you know, John Keats was a worshipper of beauty. Beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder. Beauty is truth, truth is beauty. For him, everything is beautiful if it is true, and every truth is going to be beautiful as well. So Endymion, what he does is that he goes in search of her. Whenever he goes into the forest. For the first time, he notices everything that he sees around him. Everything is beautiful. The trees, the flowers, the forest, the seas, the mountain, the hills, All the small rivers, the sun and the moon, he finds everything beautiful because his mind was filled with love. So this journey in search of Cynthia, while he's going, he sees a lot of things, passing through the forest and other places, and he finds beauty in everything. Now let us come to the poem. John Keats says, "A thing of beauty is joy forever. Its loveliness will always increase. It will never pass into nothingness. A thing of beauty will remain constantly beautiful." Another example to substantiate this particular point is another poem written by John Keats, Ode on a Grecian Urn. A marble vase that was constructed in Greece, ancient Greece, around 3,000, 4,000 years old, still gives pleasure to the people who watch it. So art and other things which are beautiful, he says, remain forever. All the beauties of nature will remain. Its loveliness will never pass into nothingness. The trees, everything will keep on making us happy. And it's going to make a bower poet for us, a kind of a shade, a cool shade, the trees and everything. Remember, he is walking through the forest. And he says that everywhere outside is bright sun and it's very hot, but inside the forest, the trees, the beautiful trees, very nice to the eyes, is going to create a small bower, a shade, quiet for us. And all these things, the beautiful things of nature, are actually binding us like a wreath, like a garland to the earth. It means the poet wants to convey that these beautiful objects of nature, the trees, the rivers and everything, they are the ones which are taking the human beings closer to nature. We are part of nature and we are bound to nature because of all these beautiful things. And the poet also says, it's not just making us happy, these things of beauty, in spite of despondence, any kind of sadness, and dearth of human noble qualities. That means all the hatred, all the jealousy, all whatever we have harbored in us. And all these dark days, all the unhappy days that we human beings have to face. Everything, all this, in spite of all this, some forms of beauty will come and remove that covering, the pall, the covering that is keeping us in these dark days, in these evil days. A form of beauty is enough to remove all those things from us. That means all sufferings, all pain, all sad heart and mind is going to become calmer, happier when we contact ourselves with nature, and also we enjoy the beauty of nature. So all these beautiful things can remove or wipe out our dark fears, our unhappy mind, and clean it and make it happy. And now the poet is going to enumerate some things of beauty for us so that he encountered on his way. He says the sun, the moon, trees old and young, and the stars, the small animals, daffodils, flowers, the green world, and the small streams of water is going to, and even the streams of water and the trees on both sides making a cool cover for it. The mid-forest break, a small clearing in the middle of the forest, you must have come across, is filled with flowers. And also those beautiful rose blooms of flowers, it has got a kind of so fair musk, as nice perfumed musk, a kind of fragrance, that kind of flowers. And also, he's not talking about the things of beauty of nature, is not limited to nature itself. Okay, he says all these things, beautiful flowers, rivers, birds, trees old and young, and all those things he says they are beautiful. And he also wants to say a few other things as well into the list of all these things of beauty. One is the grand tour of doom, the great ancestors' stories of courageous, the stories of warriors, how the great warriors, the ancient Greek warriors and other warriors fought, and the great honor, death they had, the stories, the myth and everything. He says all these stories and the tales, the folk tales that we hear, the stories of the mighty dead, the mighty great people, how they fought hard, how they overcame such difficult oppositions. All these great stories of yesteryears, the epic stories of great warriors, the grand tour, the greatness of death, doom, and also the mighty dead, the great heroes, warriors who died. All those stories, they also, and also all the tales that we have heard, they also come into the list of things of beauty. And he says, all these things are the immortal drinks that is pouring on to us from heaven. All these things of beauty are going to make us young, like Amrit, like the eternal fountain of youth. In order to make us keep young, we have to be closer to nature. So heaven is pouring down this gift to us, all these beautiful things, so that we remain. It's kind of immortal drink. We become young forever at heart when we come closer to nature. So we must not move away from nature, is what the poet wants to convey. All the things that we see around, the trees, the beautiful trees, we have time to look at it and go closer to the nature. The moment we come closer to the nature, we become part of nature and we become young and happy in heart and mind. Thank you.